Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, Governor, good to see you. So, I want to get Texas real quick. When we start in Massachusetts, Scott Brown is up 4 points in the latest poll. He is a Republican, and he is up 4 points in the Senate race in Massachusetts. He could go and be, if he wins that race, be confirmed, sworn in, and cast the deciding vote against Harry Reid's health care plan. That would be some sweet thing. He had, I collect aphorisms, quotes of the day. I keep a commonplace book. He had a good one this last week during the debates. Good job last night, Governor, by the way. Very good job. During the debates, yes. Interviewer in public station in Boston sonorously intoned and said, "How would you feel, Mr. Brown, if you were to get this seat and cast the deciding vote against health care, health care that Senator Kennedy, who had that seat, it is Senator Kennedy's seat that you're after, he labored long and hard to see this legislation. How would you feel about frustrating it?" He said, "I have the greatest regard for Senator Kennedy and his memory, but let me remind you, it is not Senator Kennedy's seat. It is the people's seat." That's the way it works. So the way it works theoretically, even in Massachusetts, we shall see. Anyway, good luck to him. It's great to be in Texas. It's always great to be in Texas. Back to Texas. Texas, always Texas. When I came here for graduate school, as Wendy said, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I grew up there, and there are a lot of similarities between Brooklyn and Texas. Never mind. No, we'll move on. Anyway, I went to a small all-male college in Williamstown, Massachusetts, where the winter is about 8 months long. And I came to Texas. I saw the natural resources here, the real natural resources, football, the women, the food, and I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I often think, Governor Perry, I really do, all of you who call Texas home are the most fortunate people in America. So, this isn't a speech, it's just a pre-speech, but about your governor a little bit. I've known Governor Perry for some time now. Here's a man who likes what he does and does it well, but he's also an evangelist for the best things in life, like Texas. I've seen it up front, personal and close, a couple of times now. A couple of years ago, about a year ago actually, he had to go to New York City on business, and I know this from the inside. So how does a Texas governor, a good Texas governor, travel to New York City? He travels like Dennis Weaver's McCloud. You remember that. Not changing to fit into New York, but rather making New Yorkers wanting to fit in to be more like him. I like to think he went around New York in his cowboy hat and cowboy boots, and I know he brought with him a friend. Not a lobbyist, not a lawyer, not a chief of staff with a briefcase. No, he brought a former Navy SEAL. 6'5" lone survivor author, Marcus Luttrell. Son of a gun. That's a good way to travel. That's a good way to go to New York City. Different, but good. I'm sure people saw your governor walking the streets of Fifth Avenue and thinking a made-for-TV movie is in the offing, but it wasn't. It was just Rick Perry being Rick Perry. Hats, boots, Navy SEAL. What's the old Texas phrase about the riot and they send for help and train stops, and Texas Ranger gets off the train. They say, "We got a riot in this town." What's the answer? One riot, one ranger. That's it. That's the fun stuff, but it is more than imagery. And a quite remarkable thing happened recently. You may or may not know it, but it's not very popular in the elite liberal culture and media to salute Texas. But it has. How did that happen? It had to. They had to. Last July, the liberal, but often quite excellent magazine, the British-based Economist, did a comparison between the two most important and consequential states in America. The two states with the most people and the most resources, California and Texas. And they gave it to Texas. The Economist found that what Governor Perry and leaders in the Senate and the House and the private sector and this foundation and others had done with that leadership what they have done for the people of Texas is nothing short of miraculous, and for the rest of us, it is imitable. We can do it too. The entrepreneurial climate created here, the climate of free enterprise guided by the ethic of a free people, has led to a state where in years of recession, downturns, and deficits, and Texas has been hit too, you know that. You now have more Fortune 500 companies than any other state. And Texas was responsible for 70% of all the new net jobs created in 2008 among America's 50 states. How's that line in the song go? All hail this mighty state. Now don't get me wrong, Texas has been hit hard too, but its economy and its people will weather this storm better than others, in large part because of the right leadership and the commitment to the right principles. As you know, when a natural disaster hits, and economic disasters are like it, natural disasters, depends upon how strong the foundation is. We see that in this disaster to the south of us. If the foundation were stronger, that country would be doing better. But the foundation was weak, so when tough times hit, in this case a natural catastrophe, they were destroyed. Same with economic catastrophes. They do it right in Texas because of the right leadership. They do it right because of the right principles, because of seeing the world the way it is. Unlike other big and famous states, say New York and California, bankruptcy is not on the lips of Governor Perry or your majorities in the House and Senate. And begging the federal government for bailouts, asking for more money from Washington is not exactly Governor Perry's style, is it? Quite the opposite. And unlike those states that are seeing people flee, Texas is realizing a net influx of people, workers, and businesses. We may all be heading this way, Governor. As the nation's debating health care reform, Texas has already shown the way with what you all and Governor Perry have done with medical malpractice tort reform. Physicians from Maine to Hawaii have left those states to come here, to practice here, to treat patients here, because it's a more hospitable environment. Given what you've all done, medical license applications are on the rise in Texas. Texas may be the state to which a lot of excellent health care runs in the future. The unemployment rate here is lower than the national average. Housing repossessions are still very rare, and the state budget was in a surplus as other states were climbing deeper into deficits. And as The Economist magazine pointed out, unlike those fellow states with large populations, Texas levies no personal income tax, and with almost unlimited space on which to build, its houses are big and affordable. I know about that unlimited space. When I was living here in Austin as a graduate student, got directions to dinner, and a guy said, just go out to the road to Lampasas, take a right, second house on the left. 46 miles later. We drove out, my roommate and I, both from New York, we drove out one night. We wanted to see Big Bend National Park. We drove and ended up in a place called Junction. It was 5 in the morning, we went in there, and I'd seen what guys do, so I said, cup of coffee and chicken fried steak. The fella said, you boys from the university? I said, God, how does it show, how do you know? He said, what are you doing out here? I said, we're just driving around. He said, yeah, well, that's how I know you from the university. I said, fella down the road here put a quarter in the phone booth and said, I'd like to call New York City. And the operator said, that'll be $2.20. He said, $2.20, I can call hell for a dime. The operator said, yes, sir, that's a local call. All right. Junction's not so bad. Anyway, there is a lot of space. There is room to build. There is room to expand. So how does Texas do it? It starts from the top. As Governor Perry told National Review magazine last year, there are certain truths that have to be agreed to. One is that economies grow when they are free from overtaxation, overregulation, over-litigation, and when they have a good and skilled and motivated workforce. Government isn't difficult in theory, he said. Don't spend all the money, keep taxes low. Close quote. So, I conclude. Don't spend all the money, keep taxes low. Sounds like a pretty good model to me. Unlike a lot of economics, I can understand that one. And don't take your boots off. That's my observation. That's not National Review's. They're still based in Manhattan, after all. They don't know about that. But most important, perhaps, don't forget where you're from. Don't forget where you come from. Don't forget what you were raised on. Don't forget the head and heart of those who sent you to do their work. That all sounds like the model of another great governor I can think of from west of the Mississippi, who made a great difference in my life. He also made a lot of international news in the 70s and 80s, and he liked to wear boots as well. Some good things can, in fact, come from California. Texas is fortunate to have Rick Perry, and so is America. I give you the governor of the great state of Texas, my friend Rick Perry.